Hey everybody, happy Catterday. Yeehaw, it's the weekend. Alright, so for this episode, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. There's lots of different phrases, short forms in the game, but they're pretty common, but not everybody knows what they mean, so thought I'd go over some of them for newer players. Alright, so weaponsmith. Like, I'm terrible for my short forms. I short form almost everything. So when I'm referring to this, I put WS or W Smith for that. And most of my teammates do the same. They short form that as well. And then we've got WM for War Machine. Nobody wants to write that out all the time. Hit the WM. Much better than War Machine. And then we got the Hero of the Month and the Weapon of the Month. So you'll see people write it out as HOTM or WOTM. Short form for those, because yeah, that's too much to type out too. Short forms are awesome. So those two. Also, POV, short for Path of Valor. And then we have flags up here. If somebody's referring to it as we, got the world energy going. And now I've been in a few alliances too where they refer to them as bolts. And I always wondered why. And then on global chat one day, somebody was asking what the heck flags were. We're like, these, your world energy, your raid energy, and your war machine energy. They're flags. You get 3 of them for your war machines. And they're like, oh, that's what it is? We've always referred to them as bolts. And I'm like, why are you guys calling them bolts? Well, it's because they look like little lightning bolts. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But I will never ever call them bolts. I will always call them flags. I've been in a few of these games for over the years, the last few years, and yeah, especially coming from Empires and Puzzles, where they always refer to them as flags. Because they do. They look like banners, right? In Empires and Puzzles. So yeah, I could easily see why they were called flags there. And then a lot of us come over here and just continued to call them flags. And I'm like, what the hell are bolts? Why are people referring to them as bolts? Well, it's a little lightning symbols. That was a very funny conversation on Global Chat, actually. And it makes sense, too, because in my alt account, which is another term, I joined a few alliances in the beginning when I was kind of bouncing around, and a couple of them only ever referred to them as bolts, and I'm like, why are they doing that? And then that happened on Global Chat one day, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. Okay. Now I see the reference, but yeah, I'm gonna continue to use the term flags. But that was pretty funny. I'm glad they asked, because there you go. I learned something new as to why they refer to them as bolts, and he learned something new about flags. So there you go. That was pretty damn funny, though. It really was. Alright, so let's go into the heroes here. So there's lots of different terminology for the heroes. So I'm sure one of the most common ones you'll probably hear when you first start the game is don't level up your feeder heroes. Well, these are your feeder heroes, your 1 and 2 stars that you want to feed to your 3, 4s, and 5s as you're leveling up. So that would be most common there. And now there's a bunch of different terminologies for these guys. So Rory right now, he is at 3rd tier and level 6. So if you ever hear that, somebody say, oh, I've got him at 3-6, well, that's what they're referring to. So they're in last promotion for a 3-star, and at level 6 of that promotion. And then you got, somebody could say about Leapfrog that they're at 360. Well, that means they're complete then. And then I got a few that are stuck. So Wallace actually isn't stuck, but I'm not going to level a second Wallace. But the only reason I leveled him up in the first place is at the beginning I was having a heck of a time landing some greens. So I started leveling him, and then I ended up with Zuri, and I ended up with multiple copies of Elif, and I'm like, okay, this dude's staying stuck. Now he's not technically stuck because I do have the mats, but I don't really want nor need a second Wallace that I can figure out a reason to keep him. So at some point I may just actually feed him away. We'll see, but I got others that are stuck. So if they're saying they're stuck at 360 for a 4-star, or like Sure Shot, she's stuck at 480 for a 5-star. And I got Throttle, he's at 459. He'll be done soon. And Jocasta, she's another one that's stuck, but I'll have Rex done soon. He's at 452. So 4th tier, 52nd level. And Umbra, she's at 5th tier, so she's at 572. She'll be done very, very soon. And if somebody says they're 5 stars at 500, well, they're done. Or 598, they're almost done. That sort of thing. So yeah, if it's somebody using the terminology like 480 to refer to Eiko, well then you know she's done. So that's not, I think that's more common in Empires and Puzzles, but I have seen it here quite a bit. I think that it's probably, the more E and P players migrate over, the more you'll probably hear some of that terminology. Alright, so for some of the hero terminology, we got a sniper here. And I have heard people refer to them as strikers as well. Now, Minimoto. So the snipers means they just go after one target, and which he does well. I like Minimoto. I know his defenses are terrible. Look at the defenses, 568. But he charges fast, and so he can snipe at a specific hero a few times a match, depending on how many green tiles you get, because it doesn't take long for him to charge up. And so he does extra damage against healers, so that's good. And plus he gives himself a charging bonus. So yeah, I do like him, and he was a hero of the month. So if you hear him referred to as HOTM, you'll know why. Now, let's go to Zidane. He does a couple of different things here. So there's different terminologies for this as well. So he hits multiple targets. So you could hear somebody refer to him as an AoE hitter, which is an area of effect that he covers. He doesn't cover just one like a sniper. He has an area of effect he does damage to. And he also does healing over time, so he's also a hot hero. Because he does a bit of healing over time. So if you ever hear the terminology hot, you'll know what that is for. Now, Hush here, she is a sniper as well, just like Minimoto. But she also does damage over time. So she's a dot hitter as well. So with the burn, she'll do damage over time to that hero that she sniped at as well. So that's pretty cool. So if you ever hear the term DOT, that's what it means. It's referring to burn damage, poison damage, bleeding damage, that sort of thing, is damage over time. So over 3 turns she does that. Now there's also, so area of effect for Zidane, and I've also heard it as attack on everyone. Well, this guy is an attack on everyone, and he's a multi-hitter as well. So if they refer to him as multi-hitter or AoE hitter, it's same basic thing, like he's doing damage to all enemies, is what that is referring to. Alright, what else for heroes? Okay, so I finally bit the bullet and actually used some emblems on Dasha here. Now, a lot of people short form that to blems, which is kind of funny. They just crop off the EN at the beginning and just refer to them as blems. So if you ever see that, they're talking about emblems. Now, I like her talent. We switched to green tanks for war, so when I realized she was a war fighter, I'm like, oh, I gotta put at least this note on her, because it's the revive, the chance to revive. It's only 1 HP, but man, I tell you, half the time when these guys revive, they're charged to go off anyway, so they revive with 1 HP and then immediately hit, which is actually quite a bonus. So when they revive, not always are they charged to hit, but a good majority of the time they really are. So since we switched to green tanks, I thought I would put her in war here. So we'll see how that goes. She's the only one I'm going to be using any emblems on for the moment. And yeah, we switch war tanks every so often, so we get to try out different heroes and kind of see what works. And the last time we were using green tanks, she wasn't ready yet. I still use Minimoto, who is terrible as tank just because his defenses are bad. So I didn't want to use him again, even though I think he's a little bit stronger than her. Sometimes even the strongest heroes aren't fit for what you need them for. So I think she'll do much better as tank here than he will. So we'll see what happens with that. Alright, so I think that's it for a lot of the terminology that I can think of offhand. I'm sure there's more, and if there's more that any of you think of, please feel free to add them to the comments, and then we kind of got a section going all at once for the different terminologies. So Merc event is on. A lot of people just shorten the mercenary to Merc. Well, that's a pretty easy one. Now, yesterday we got an offer that they've offered in EMP for quite a while. The bonus for your alliance. So you get gold and they get gold. So a bunch of my teammates bought that here, so thanks to them for that. That was very awesome of them. So you get 300 for yourself and 30 for each of your teammates. Now, that is pretty darn good, and I'm sure SG benefited from that and made a boatload of money from that sale. Now, I bought them in both accounts, my alt account and my main account, and when you hear somebody say alt account, all it's meaning is they have another account that they play out of. That's all that is. So, I got that in both accounts, not that I'm looking to spend in my alt. However, it had some good effects for the team. So I haven't tried any pulls yet with any of the extra gold, but eventually I will do some Merc summons. So by the end of the Merc event, I'll have some summon videos, I'm sure. And but that is a good one to buy. It gives the free-to-play players a bit of I don't know, a boost, really, I guess is what you could say, for a free-to-play player. Now we have several, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I have several teammates that are like that in both alliances, and I get it totally. I do, because I'm very cheap and don't spend a lot. So it gave them a little bit of a break though, because one of my teammates in Farmed and Dangerous actually got his first 4-star hero thanks to the extra gold. So he's pretty stoked, which is awesome. So we gave him a nice boost with the extra gold, and he managed to land his first 4-star hero. And he got a good one. It was Rex, actually. He's a really decent 4-star. So he's happy about that. We gave him a bit of a boost, and it gives a bit of a relief to the free-to-play players. So now several of them managed to pull this weapon too. Man, oh man, that's awesome. I'm happy for them. But look at this weapon, dodge and charge speed. Like, that's just fantastic. And I think about 4 people between the 2 alliances so far managed to get it. Some people never chat, so you never really know what they got in their lineup. But yeah, that was a nice offer. So if you're looking to buy, keep an eye out for that offer, because you give yourself a boost of 300 gold, plus you've just given your teammates 30 each, and you never know what good can come from it. A few of them have Farmed and Dangerous. One of them managed to land a 5-star hero, and a couple of others got 4 stars as well. So that was pretty cool. Now here, not too many people said. I don't think they've done too many pulls yet, actually, from the event. So, but yeah, we did get some weapons of the month here too. So thanks to SG for that. That was a little bit of a bonus for people. And yeah, so I think that's it for now, guys. And I'm going to sign off. And I will see you for war. And hopefully that helps out you guys with some of the terminology and what it means. Take care, everyone.